very much for being here. Now we'll take questions from the committee. Delegate Hornberger.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I want to thank the advocates who came to my office earlier this session to discuss this bill. It's incredibly important, and I find it troubling that this isn't already occurring. I'll pose to the bill sponsor the same question that I posed to the advocates. It's my understanding that this is a federal requirement that our school systems aren't currently meeting. So my question to you is, why isn't this something that's being pursued in the courts as opposed to legislation? If they're already non-compliant, then passage of a bill, albeit more prescriptive, they could still be in compliance. So I'm not understanding why this isn't already happening because it's federal law. And two, if it's not, wouldn't the courts be a better place for this to play out?
So to do my best to answer this question, and then I'll see if Ronza wants to add to it. To the best of my knowledge, yes, it's federal law, and the school systems receive federal monies. The state receives federal monies to get it done. So also, they don't cover all of it, but from my understanding, some do and some don't.
Yep.
I don't know why this is not in the courts, and I don't know. Go ahead, Ronza.
So the federal law establishes that something has to be done, but it sets to the state the mechanism and the methods for deciding how it's going to be done. So Maryland decided in state law how it's going to accomplish the requirements. Of course, we could go to federal court, we could go to the Department of Education, except it takes 3 to 5 years to litigate a case. So by the time you litigate a case that my 6th grader didn't get their math book, they're going to be getting ready to finish high school. So it doesn't actually help them. So we're trying to proactively bridge the gaps that are happening so that, litigation is supposed to be restorative. We're trying to be proactive in terms of preventing this thing from happening.
And just to be clear, is it that they're not providing the material or the timeliness of the providing of the material?
Both and.
Both and.
Both and.
And then my final question, if I may, if we pass this law and they continue to be in non-compliance, what is the penalty or the remedy should they still continue to be non-compliant?
So the part of the bill that talks about data collection, Maryland is not currently collecting data on this particular issue in terms of how many students are getting their books, how many books are we producing, how many kids actually need them, and so forth. So the first is to get that information. So it moves from anecdotal LEA by LEA to something that the Maryland State Department of Education is actually gathering, tracking, and publicizing so that we can then determine how much, in terms of the metrics, where are we, where do we need to be? And then we're able to actually work with the individual counties where there are more significant challenges compared with others and target the approach through advocacy and other means to be able to continue helping those that maybe are missing the mark after these solutions to get closer to the mark.
Great, thank you. And thank you all for coming down.